I've been using the Insta360 GO 3 for the past 6 months, and today I'm going to share my honest thoughts on this tiny camera to help you decide whether or not it's the right camera for you. I'm going to share what I think are the best features, some of the challenges I've had with this camera, how it compares to the Insta360 X3, and who I think this camera would be great for. And just so you know, this isn't a paid review, this is my honest thoughts on the camera. Alright, so let's start off by looking at what I think are some of the best features of this little camera. Now the first thing is just the small form factor of the GO 3, and I know there's other action cameras out there that are similar in size, but when you take the actual camera out of the action pod, it's honestly the smallest action camera that I've seen to date. But even in the action pod, it's still really small. It fits perfectly in your pocket, which means it's really convenient to just take out and about with you, which is to me always the biggest advantage of these action cameras over something like a mirrorless camera. Because my mirrorless is bulky, I just leave it at home. But because I can slip this into a pocket, I'm much more likely to take it out and about and get footage while I'm on the go. And it's also a great travel camera because you can just slip it either straight into your suitcase or into the protective case that you can get from Insta360, and it's good to go. I'm also very excited about the fact that a midnight black version just got released, which I'm personally a huge fan of. I think it looks awesome, and it's actually also got a really nice grippy texture on the side of the camera compared to the original, which I really like. Which leads me to the next pro, which is the fact that this is easily the most creative camera I've ever used, and I don't say that lightly, especially as someone who's a huge fan of mirrorless cameras and shooting an S-Log and all that type of thing. But when it comes to sheer creativity, the GO 3 really shines. And that's largely down to that tiny size of the camera when you take it out of the case, paired with the huge array of Insta360 accessories that you can pair with this camera. And to me, this is what really separates it as unique from other action cameras on the market currently. Straight away, as soon as you take it out of the case, the back of the camera is actually magnetic, so you can already start to be super creative if you've got metallic surfaces that you can attach the camera to. And here, your imagination and creativity is really the limit. I've used the camera for shooting inside and outside of cars. I've shot a lot of content on my electric skateboards with the GO 3, and I've managed to get some really unique and interesting angles that you just can't get with any other type of camera. I've used it for shots inside drawers and shelves, again, places that you often can't put mirrorless cameras easily. And then of course, when you pair it with a selfie stick, you can use it for vlogging. So the next great thing that I really do like about the GO 3 is the accessories, and obviously you have to spend extra to get the accessories, but I think it's worth picking some up because it just expands the creative options that you've got with the GO 3. Now by default in the standalone kit, you get 3 accessories included, which is the magnetic pendant, which I'm a big fan of. So this enables you to attach the GO 3 to your chest for a really cool POV shot. You also get an easy clip in the box, which you can attach to a hat or something like that. Again, great for POV shots. And you also get the pivot stand included, which is probably my most used accessory. And this kind of gives you 2 different abilities in one. So the pivot stand itself has a sticky pad on the bottom of it. And it's actually really cool. Like it attaches to most surfaces, and you can detach it and clean the sticky pad so you can reuse it, which I've used in all sorts of places, especially attaching it to things like the interiors of cars. And then you can also detach the quick release plate from the sticky pad, and you've got a 1/4 inch thread, and you can attach that to all sorts of other camera accessories that use that type of thread. So for example, selfie sticks or even C-stands, that type of thing. I'm also a big fan of the monkey tail mount, which basically has a bendable metal rod that you can use to attach to all sorts of different things. I've also used the 2-in-1 tripod with it, which can be handy when you're out and about, just shooting by yourself. And the quick release mount is also great for things like bike helmets, where you want to be able to quickly take the camera on and off. And this is only a fraction of the different accessories that you can get with the GO 3, but I genuinely think Insta360 has done a great job in coming up with like heaps of creative solutions for pretty much any type of scenario that you want to shoot. All right, so the next feature that I really like about the GO 3 is the screen, especially when comparing it to the older GO 2. Now on the GO 2, you only had a little screen that showed you the settings, whereas with the GO 3, you've got a full color video display, which shows you exactly what you're currently looking at and shooting. On the GO 2, the only way to monitor live footage was to connect the GO 2 to your phone app, and that would take a little bit of time to connect, so it was just kind of inconvenient. So having this display is a huge step up, especially because you can also change the settings using the touchscreen. Just makes it that much easier to use and navigate. I really like the fact that it's got a flip up screen, so you can use it in selfie mode, like on a selfie stick if you're doing vlogging, that type of thing. Plus, I'm a huge fan of the fact that it enables you to still see a live video feed from the camera, even when it's detached from the action pod, which is just perfect, honestly, because then you can really make sure that your shot is perfect when you've got it in a really random, obscure place. So that's definitely a big pro. The next thing I really like about these cameras is the freeform video feature. And I know you can get this on other Insta360 products, but basically this means you can easily reformat the footage that you shoot to be either horizontal or vertical format, which is perfect if you're a content creator like me that creates content for both short form, which is vertical, and long form, which is horizontal. It just means there's one less thing to actually think about while I'm shooting, and then later if I want to repurpose the footage, I can easily do that without having to worry about having to refilm. The next feature that I really like about the Go 3 is the time-lapse feature. And pretty much all of the time-lapse that you ever see on my channel are created with the Go 3 cameras. And this is basically because they're just so easy to set and forget, and you just get really great results. The battery life is great for time-lapses, so you won't have to worry about it stopping recording halfway through. They also just recently released an update that easily enables you to select the length of the shoot, and will also tell you the output time of your time-lapse, which is super handy. So if I want a time-lapse that's 40 seconds long, for example, I can just set the camera to give me a time-lapse output of 40 seconds and I'm good to go. Another great feature that's a big pro over the Go 2 is the quick release system on the Go 3. And I know I've already mentioned it, but I'm a huge fan because literally all you have to do is bring the action pod close to the plate and it magnetically just clips in, and it's really secure, like it's not going to come out. But then if you want to detach it, all you have to do is press the side buttons in and it just pops off. And lastly, a cool bonus feature, which again was just released recently in an update, is the fact that you can use the Go 3 as a webcam if you want. So if you want a wide angle, high quality webcam, you can connect it to your computer and use it for that. Now I just wanted to take a quick second to mention my email newsletter, Create Better. If you're interested in content creation, whether it's for yourself or for your business, then I send out weekly emails sharing my latest tips, advice, and experience when it comes to content creation. Plus I often feature discount codes and exciting new products. So if you're interested, then make sure you check it out using the link in the description. All right, so let's talk about some downsides of the Insta360 Go 3. And first of all, out of the box, the case itself isn't actually waterproof. When I mean the case, I mean the action pod. So if you take the camera out of the action pod, the camera itself is waterproof, which is really cool. And I've used it a little bit underwater, but once you put it back into the case itself isn't actually waterproof. So that's something to keep in mind. You can buy a waterproof dive case if you do want to use it underwater. Another downside is just the fact that I actually wish it had a 1/4 inch thread still on the case itself. Now, like I said, I am a big fan of the quick release, and by and large, it's way better than having to use a screw system to attach accessories, but it still would have just been nice to have the option, just in case I didn't have the quick release plate with me for any reason. Next, I actually don't find that I use the preset button on the side that much. So next to the power button, there's a preset button, and this enables you to quickly switch between different presets. But I actually personally kind of just find myself often getting out confused for the power button, which can be a little bit irritating. Generally, I'm more than happy to just use the touchscreen. However, I can see how if you're wearing gloves, for example, like if you're riding a bike or a motorbike, or if you're out in the snow, that button might come in really handy. But for me, who doesn't really go to the snow that much, I just don't find that I really need it. And last but not least, I do find the Insta360 desktop app can be kind of slow sometimes, can take a while to load up all of my footage, especially if I've got a lot of footage on the camera and I haven't cleared it out for a while. So that's also something to just keep in mind. All right, so let's talk a bit about who I think the Go 3 would actually be really good for. Now, firstly, I think if you're someone who enjoys framing your shots and enjoys being creative with your camera, then this is a perfect little action camera for you. And to be honest, even if you're not someone who does like crazy action sports all the time, it's still a really great camera. Like for me, the craziest action stuff that I do is ride electric skateboards, but I still find myself using the Go 3 regularly just in my day-to-day content creation. Again, for things like time lapses or for more creative shots that I couldn't normally get with my mirrorless camera, it's actually really good. And also, again, for travel, I think this would be a great little camera because of the compact size and the ability to take photos as well as videos. I think it's also a great little B camera if you are a content creator. If you're filming on your phone, or even if you're filming on a mirrorless camera, I've used it as a B camera angle before. Or even for things like unboxing videos, it's a great little camera to have an interesting angle, and just general unique B-roll shots. I highly recommend it. But I think the key thing for me is if you want something that helps you be creative, where you can actively frame shots and work with the camera to get the best results, then the Go 3 is a good option. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit more passive, or you don't have to worry about framing quite so much, then maybe the Go 3 wouldn't be quite right for you. Now, lastly, my opinion on this camera, I genuinely love it. I have it sitting on my desk pretty much all the time, not only because I use it regularly for just random little B-roll shots and time lapses, but also because I think it just looks really cool. I think it's a really cool looking camera, and I love the option to just be able to slip it in my pocket and take it out and about with me in my day-to-day life. So I highly recommend the Go 3. I think if you're looking for an action camera, then it's hard to go wrong with these. And if you're looking for something like that, you might have looked at the Insta360 X3, because one of the biggest benefits of the X3 X3 is the fact that you don't really have to think too much about what you're shooting while you're filming because it's capturing everything in 360 degrees. You've got the freedom and flexibility to be able to reframe it in post. So if you're not quite sure which camera is for you, then make sure you check out this video here where I compare the X3 and the Go 3 to help you decide which one is right for you.